basically took seasons 3 to 5 and split them up with like A being the first half and B being the second half, because they really were sort of that way with the arcs and everything like that. But 1, 2, 6, and 7 are basically the whole season as a whole. I have also decided to include the only season of Once Upon a Time in Wonderland in this ranking. Look, it's going to be crazy. I don't really know how I feel about any of it. But, yeah. So technically I have 11 seasons to rank of Once Upon a Time. So let's get to it. In 11th place, I have season 5B, Welcome to Underbrook. Bet you weren't expecting that. Now, when I bought the DVDs to catch up on Once Upon a Time, because I came in during season 6, the season 5 DVD case came with this little postcard, Greetings from Underbrook. And I do love it. And I love that like the back kind of has like burn marks because Underworld. And I do love this postcard. I do not love the season. I do not love the season. I actually hate this season. I hate 5B so much because I feel like they didn't utilize the Underworld as best as they could. Like, I feel like the expectations for the Underworld were so high that the show didn't even come close to meeting the expectations that I had. And maybe that was my fault for having such high expectations for the show dealing with the Underworld, but it didn't even come close to meeting it. But yeah, in 11th place, last place, I have season 5B. Yeah. In 10th place, I have season 7, A New Book Opens. It was basically a fine enough season. Like, but essentially, it was just copy-paste season 1. And, you know, there was something magical about season 1 that just didn't hit the same way 7 seasons later. I didn't mind season 7, but I didn't love season 7. So, it's in 10th place. In 9th place, I have the Once Upon a Time in Wonderland spin-off show season thing. I don't know what we're calling it, but it was basically the spin-off Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. There were a lot of interesting things about Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, and I think looking at it as its own separate show, it's a good show. But when comparing it to the Once Upon a Time seasons, it doesn't hit the same way. So that's why the only season of Once Upon a Time in Wonderland is in 9th place. In 8th place, I have season 3A, hashtag Save Henry. There were a lot of things I enjoyed about the Neverland arc. I loved making Peter Pan a villain. I loved the family coming together to save Henry. I really did enjoy that, but I don't know, I didn't love it as much as I did like some of the other seasons. So yeah, season 3A is in 8th place. In 7th place, I have season 5A, There Is No Savior in This Town Anymore. This one was a challenging one because it was sort of a blending of the Camelot arc and the Dark Swan arc. And I really, really did enjoy the Dark Swan stuff. I didn't necessarily enjoy the Camelot stuff as much as, I wanted to. I feel like it's a similar situation with the Underworld one where I'm like, oh, Camelot, this is going to be fun. This is going to be great. And it wasn't. But the Dark Swan arc definitely helped save this season for me. So yeah, that's why season 5A is in 7th place. In 6th place, I have season 4B, The Queens of Darkness. Man, I really loved this season. I really did. I loved, Cruella and Maleficent and Ursula, and then Regina sort of playing double agent with the Queens of Darkness. It was a blast. But I feel like it didn't utilize the characters as well as I think they could have. This fly is going to drive me nuts. But I think, Ursula in particular was really, really shortchanged. She was barely a part of the story, and it's Ursula, in terms of, Disney villains, is, such a popular Disney villain amongst, a good chunk of fans, that it's almost like the show is just yeah, we don't care, we're not going to do anything with Ursula. Even, Ursula's backstory, I feel was, rushed through, and it was sort of I feel like we could have used Ursula a little bit more. So that kind of brought down the mood for the Queens of Darkness arc. But overall, I really did enjoy it. So, 6th place. In 5th place, I have season 6, Long Live the Queen. For some reason, every time I say that, I think of Lion King with Long Live the King. But yeah, Long Live the Queen. I have a soft spot for season 6. It was the season that I came into the show with. It got me hooked. But looking at season 6 as a whole, not as good as I remember it, but it is still pretty good. I really did love the different dynamics with the Evil Queen, and I do think the Evil Queen could have and should have been more ruthless and sort of play with the idea that, the Evil Queen wasn't as bad before because Regina was still there reining her in. But I really did love sort of the different dynamics with these characters because, we see Zelina has, such a different relationship with Regina and the Evil Queen. And it's sort of well, they're essentially the same person, but there's such a different relationship there, and I really did enjoy that. I also enjoyed the different relationship that Rumple has with Evil Queen and Regina. No, I do not ship them, but it was interesting to see that even though the Evil Queen was technically a part of Regina, they wrote her differently enough that it was two separate characters. And that was sort of the standout of season 6. But yeah, alas, season 6 is in 5th place. In 4th place, I have season 3B, Wicked is Coming. I really enjoyed 3B. Ironically, I don't think we spent a whole lot of time in Oz. It was the Oz arc, and we didn't spend a whole lot of time in Oz, but I really did love that we did have these two different storylines happening. We had the characters in the Enchanted Forest, and that was sort of filling in the blanks for us. And then we had Storybrooke, where nobody remembered what happened in the Enchanted Forest. And then, like, Regina and Emma working together to try to, you know, fill in the pieces, and everybody sort of turned on Regina again. They're like, what did you do? Like, why do we not remember anything? And, I mean, I love Zelina. So, Zelina is here. I do think we could have spent more time in Oz, but what can you do? I did really enjoy this season, though. So, 3B is in 4th place. In 3rd place, I have season 4A, Storybrooke Has Frozen Over. Now, I know this is where a lot of people decided they were giving up on the show, because the show was leaning into the Frozen fever. I really enjoyed the Frozen arc, though. Like, I really did. I think it was different enough from Disney's Frozen. It kind of leaned more into the Hans Christian Andersen Snow Queen story, and therefore I really did enjoy it, because I think that the show could have leaned into the Disney version of things, and they sort of leaned away from it, and to me that was very beneficial for this arc. But yeah, I mean, I was definitely skeptical. Like, I do love Frozen, but I was like, oh, it's too close. It's too close. Like, but I think they really surprised me in a good way with the Frozen arc. So, season 4A is in 3rd place. In 2nd place, I have season 1. Who Are We? Look, I couldn't find a tagline for season 1. So, who are we? I really did enjoy season 1. I think the incorporation of the flashbacks to the Enchanted Forest and present-day Storybrooke, where nobody knows who they are except for, like, Regina and Rumpel and Henry. Like, there was something really, really magical about season 1. And it was such an interesting concept for a show that it worked so well. And I feel like it could have gotten really tiring. And it kind of started to towards the end. But I feel like they paced it out well enough that I was personally, like, really engaged in the season, which is weird because I kind of already knew where everybody ended up coming in during season 6, but I was so enthralled with season 1. But it's in 2nd place. Because in 1st place, I have season 2, Magic is Coming. Now, I feel like this would have been the season 1 tagline, but for some reason I was seeing it pop up for season 2, and I guess that makes sense because the magic has come back. And I think season 1 and season 2 could easily be flipped around for me, but I think what puts season 2 ahead of season 1 is everybody kind of knows who they are, and magic has come back type thing. Like, it feels like we were finally getting into the story. Whereas, like, season 1 sort of felt like, you know, the prologue, and it's like, okay, when are we getting to the story? And I feel like season 2 set the stage for what the show was going to be going forward. And yeah, like I said, I really loved everybody having their memories back and everybody knowing who they are and where they came from, and that this is all wrong, and Regina, this is all your fault. And then the magic, of course, coming back into play. And I don't know. I really loved season 2. So it's in first place. Yeah, so that is my ranking of the Once Upon a Time seasons, arcs, and Wonderland spinoff. But let me know what your ranking is. I am really curious to hear everybody's rankings. If you don't want to go through all of them, just tell me which one's your least favorite, which one's your favorite. Tell me why. I'm really curious to hear that as well. Let me know all your Once Upon a Time season thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more Once Upon a Time content.